What's up, everybody? I hope that you are doing well. Today is a scorcher here at the VSO range in the middle of Ohio summer. So I'm kind of bouncing back and forth between the range and the shade, work and hydrate. And one of the projects I'm working on here today is this stuff. These are the new Fiocchi Subsonic 300 Blackout rounds. So we're going to do some chrono work today. But these are 220 grain bowtail hollow points rated for about 1020. And 1020 is a good number. I personally speaking, my preference would be to have them a little bit slower than that, just because depending on the environmental conditions, you can have fast days, you can have slow days. I would like to see them a little bit slower than that. So on those days where we're getting a really fast days, we don't go over the sound barrier. But hey, we'll see what it happens, because today is like 100% humidity, so we'll see how that affects our data. But real quick, this is how they look. So those are in a C Products magazine, by the way, in for eval. If you guys haven't seen that yet, it is coming. But as you guys can see, they're very pretty, and there's some real space there at the front, which is good. And normally when you're talking about the heavy 300 Blackout rounds, you'll see a lot of manufacturers use all of the case capacity, meaning that they will load them to max overall length. And just an idea for a competitor round, right here, you can see that those two, if we stack them up right like that, you can see that the competitor round, this is the Fiocchi, this is the competitor, they load to max overall length, and that can sometimes cause binding, although we have not seen that in the C Products magazine. We have eliminated a few magazines from our testing because of that issue. However, the Fiocchi ones shouldn't be a problem. So we're going to run down to the table really quick, get on the chronograph. We're going to shoot it out of two different guns, see what kind of data we get, and then we'll regroup. 902. 955. 957. 942. 962. SBR, here we go. Not zeroed, just an FYI. 907. 942. 957. 955. 920. Well, guys, there's something to talk about. As far as the grand scheme of things are concerned, the velocities really didn't differ that much between the two guns, even though there's 8 inches of barrel between the two. So what that tells me is that the majority of the powder in this load is getting burned in the first 8 inches of barrel life. I'm told by my point of contact at Fiocchi that these rounds are optimized for use out of a 16-inch barrel, but you can pretty much assume that you're going to get relatively the same performance, at least at these environmental conditions, out of an 8-inch barrel as you would out of a 16-inch barrel, which is pretty cool. Now, what I want to do really quick before we wrap it up is I'm going to go shoot this other junk that we have and just see what the difference is between the two. 1090. 1078. 1067. 1068. 1097. Now out of the SBR. 946. 948. 968. 924. 1076. All right, so as you guys can see, there is a difference in the max overall length load between the two barrel lengths. A little bit faster velocity out of the 16-inch barrel, which tells me that they've got a little bit slower burning powder. No big deal. This is Freedom Munitions Hush. We've been shooting a long period of time, but they declared bankruptcy, so it doesn't really matter whose it is. I just wanted to illustrate a difference. Now, the one thing I will note is that I have shot this stuff for a long period of time, and this stuff will go over. If you have the right days, this stuff absolutely will go over the sound barrier if you've got like a really low humidity day or something like that.
220 hush.
Now, the one thing I did want to say about the Fiocchi loads that I've noticed is out of my short-barreled rifle that was set up for this load over here, every once in a while we will not get a lock back on an empty magazine, and every once in a while we may not pick up a round out of the middle of the magazine. What that tells me is that it's short stroking a little bit. Well, I just cracked the gun open. Turns out it has an H buffer in it, so it's got a little bit heavier buffer in it. That other gun has a JP Enterprises silent capture spring in it. I'm not going to swap it out. I'm just going to go get a standard buffer, a normal carbine buffer, and throw it in that other gun. Unless, of course, JP Enterprises calls me. But anyway, guys, that is our look at the Subsonic 300 Blackout loads from Fiocchi. These things are showing some good promise thus far. I like the velocity that we got today. After I get that short barrel rifle optimized, I think it'll be great for our continuous uses. But what I'm really looking forward to doing is seeing how it does when we get cold outside. Obviously, that's a couple months off. It's about 95 degrees today. We won't know for probably 6-7 months about how the performance of this load does when it gets cold, and that's when the metal really hits the road, or the rubber really. The metal doesn't hit the road. If you've got metal hitting the road, it's wrong. Don't do that. Rubber only.